Today on the World War Bitcoin podcast, we are going to take a look at a lot of things, including Joe Biden and his executive order with crypto. What does that mean? And look at Terra Luna not doing too bad. What a recovery for Luna, going all the way down to $44 before recovering and hitting a new all-time high in conditions like this. Are you kidding me? So I want to explain Terra Luna and why I believe you should be excited about holding Terra Luna. And we're going to take a look at some other cryptos, some things making moves. Privacy coins are making a move, and how much is that related to Russia? And just, of course, at the end, I'm going to do some Bitcoin analysis. So all that and more coming right up. All right, so first things first, Bitcoin. Today is a green day for Bitcoin, which of course means that today is a green day for lots and lots of places around the market. And there are certainly some things that are sticking out. So there was a video that I made on TikTok a long time ago, not a long time ago, 3 months ago, about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, 2 to 3 months ago. And it was an article talking about the crypto metagame. And we saw this all throughout 2021, where at first it was alt season, and for some crazy reason, that was the end of alt season for a lot of cryptos. A lot of us expected some kind of next surge to come that never came, and a lot of cryptos peaked in February and March of 2021. So that was the first part of the meta game, the meta narrative that we were playing. After that was meme coin season led by Doge and Shiba Inu and SafeMoon. Those things went crazy. We could see that there was a ton of froth in the market. After that, we saw a surge in NFTs, and then so-called ETH killers, and then metaverse cryptos, and NFTs had a second season. And so it was like we were playing this game where we are trying to figure out where is the money going. And I've been wondering for 2022, what is going to happen? What's the next thing of the meta game, the meta narrative, the meta game that we're playing? And so Luna is just, it's got a mind of its own. I'm not talking about Luna here, but there's a couple of things that are emerging as possible assets that could be the next wave. And in particular, I'm talking about ISO 20022 cryptocurrencies. So XRP has their SEC suit going on. So that's always going to be contingent on the SEC suit, but XLM and XTC are looking very promising right now. Not making any promises, but they are looking promising. And then piracy coins over the last 24 hours or so, especially Monero, those are looking strong. So I'm going to take a look at that real quick. But the first things first, it's quite simply, what are we seeing with Joe Biden, with the White House? Because Joe Biden has issued an executive order. So long-awaited U.S. executive order on crypto. We've known that this was going to come for months, and it's finally here. An executive order has been issued, and this was a point. And we saw yesterday, as this news was actually leaked overnight, at least in the United States, we saw that this had been priced in. The fear of Joe Biden, of the White House doing something stupid or a little too aggressive when it comes to regulating crypto, that was priced into the market. And then we saw the leak come out, and we saw that actually, they're taking, they're going to have some precautions, but they're taking more of a neutral approach, which, and they're even saying that there's things with cryptocurrency as an innovation, that there's potential that, this is the American dream. This is how America was built. It was built on innovation. And so, personally, I think that's actually very wise. And dare I praise Joe Biden 2 weeks in a row, but I think there's some wisdom coming from the White House so as to not overreact to the crypto industry. Now, at the same time, my username is World War Bitcoin, and so I think if they thought what I thought, which I'm rooting for Bitcoin, they probably would take more of a harsher stance. But even then, I think that they would need more global participation in this to shut down the threat that I believe that Bitcoin and, you know, possibly a lot of other cryptos are going to be for this. So here's the gist of the executive order. The takeaway: U.S. President Joe Biden signed a first of its kind executive order on cryptocurrencies on Wednesday, directing federal agencies to coordinate their approach to the sector. The executive order does not lay out specific positions the administration wants agencies to adopt or impose new regulations on the sector. One part of the order will direct the Treasury Department to create a report on, quote, the future of money, end quote, including how the current financial system might not meet consumer needs. That's an interesting thought, something that I've been saying for a while. And here's something of note from the article. So a senior administration official struck a neutral tone on digital assets by telling reporters the growth of the cryptocurrency sector could threaten the U.S. financial system, which I think it will, national security or business stability. We'll see about business stability. I mean, they'll innovate on their own and they'll adopt things. But anyway, without, quote, sufficient oversight, criminals can use cryptocurrencies to launder funds to evade sanctions. Have we not heard that over and over and over again? Here we go again. But here we go. At the same time, however, digital assets can also provide opportunities for American innovation and competitiveness and promote financial inclusion, which... All right, let me keep reading and then I'll give some thoughts on that. The official said, innovation is central to America's story and our economy, generating jobs and opportunities, creating and building new industries, and sustaining our global competitive edge and leadership. And so here's the thing. Here's the thing that I've been harping on this for quite a while, and I'll say it again because, you know, I don't know how many of you are listening to this for the first time, but look at 1971. When the United States removed the dollar from gold backing, which, oh man, there are other things I want to talk about in this podcast. There's not enough time, but I am not opposed to gold. I know that Bitcoin holders, and this is probably exacerbated by Peter Schiff, but Bitcoin holders kind of have a hatred of gold. I am not one of those people. I think gold is going to do very well this decade, and I am rooting for it. I don't own any gold, but that may change. And so anyway, back to my original point, when in 1971, Nixon took us off of the backing of the US dollar, a new currency was created, a currency that is very, very inflationary. It is like a melting ice cube. It's a new thing. Go to this website, WTF happened in 1971, and just observe the charts. And look, my friends on the left, a big thing that they always talk about is income inequality, that they want to see things with income inequality handled. And what we need to do is we need to, at least in the United States, but probably in a lot of other places, we need to understand our fiat currency. We need to understand the issues that it's creating, the problems that it's creating with this income gap. And if we cannot understand that, we will not solve the income gap. We will not solve the fact that, yes, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And so when I see these words, quote, promote financial inclusion, it's like, maybe they see it. Maybe somebody, whoever this senior administration official is, maybe he sees that Bitcoin as hard money and other cryptocurrencies, not all of them, but some of them functioning as hard money, that actually provides opportunities to those who are less fortunate. Because those who are less fortunate are not able as much to buy assets that will retain their value, so their wealth diminishes. As the dollar depreciates in value, especially now with 7.5% CPI numbers and probably higher numbers tomorrow, maybe closer to 8%. But with hard, sound money, if people are holding sound money, this gap, it wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have accelerated to the point that it did starting in 1971. And so that is how I would prefer to resolve this wealth inequality. But throwing people money, I'm going to get political here. No, I'm not even going to get political. This was a bipartisan thing. I was very much opposed to every dime given in stimulus. I know that we were afraid. Maybe, even the first one, maybe you could talk me into the first round of stimulus. But then everyone after that, I was vehemently opposed to it. And I did not think that it would, the ramifications would come as quickly. But it's clear to me, it's like, all right, don't inject $7 trillion into the economy. And that has now created even more opportunities for lack of financial inclusion, for this income gap to grow, because now, I mean, we're reeling. I'm reeling right now. I'm suffering. I'm not reeling. I'm doing just fine. But I've had to restructure my business, which has absolutely taken me away from content creation. Absolutely. Because inflation's killing me. Inflation is killing my business would be dead if I wasn't able to restructure it right now. But fortunately, I'm able to restructure it. So anyway, that is enough of that. Good news out of the White House, and I'm going to talk about later on what that means for the price of Bitcoin in the short term, along with CPI, along with other things moving forward, and things that I'm planning on doing over the next 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. And so we'll see. But I do want to talk about Luna, because Luna is, I'm very impressed. So I'm going to click on the Luna chart on my computer, take a look at it. So it did reach a new all-time high yesterday. Unbelievable. So, I mean, man, if you bought Luna, let me see, January of 2021, it would have been 62 cents. What a return. You know, that's a more than 100x. That's almost a 200x. I wouldn't be surprised if it did reach 200x from there. There was a very scary time. I think there was a lot of fear with Anchor Protocol, and they offer 20% stablecoin returns, which are phenomenal. And I've made videos on that. You got to check out on my TikTok, explaining how they're able to do that. And they have recovered quite nicely. And a lot of it does have to do with their stablecoins, people fleeing to their stablecoins. And now that does create a problem of like, all right, are they lending out enough so that they can give these 20% returns? And it seems like, I mean, along with their burning mechanism and the way that their system is structured, that it's working out just fine. Now, will they be able to remain at 20% forever? That remains to be seen. I am skeptical about that, but I do believe the way that it's structured is a model that other stablecoin or other cryptos can emulate, and they should emulate. And so let's take a look at Luna. So I'm going to read another article title and some things about that. So Luna surges 25% to new all-time high of $104. Right now it's at $100. Strong demand for Terra's stablecoin is behind the big move for sister token Luna. So it's really, really important to understand just how fascinating this is, how Luna does what they do, because man, it's really, it's brilliant. It's great. So anyway, according to the data from coinmarketcap.com, Luna was up 25% over the previous 24 hours. As of press time, the token had pulled back to 102. It's now $100 and has now more than doubled in price since putting in a 2022 low of about $44 in late January. Its current valuation, just shy of $38 billion, makes it the 6th largest cryptocurrency by market cap, or the 4th largest non-stablecoin cryptocurrency. Luna's new milestone makes it an outlier. And, oh yeah, by the way, it's just a hair behind XRP. I would be shocked if it didn't overtake XRP. Luna's new milestone makes it an outlier among large cap cryptocurrencies, with names like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Binance, Avalanche, and Solana down 40 to 70% from all-time highs. And man, here we are, Luna's hitting a new all-time high. So the Luna-UST relationship, I'd strongly recommend checking this out. The gains of Luna are likely thanks to strong demand for sister token Terra USD, or UST, an algorithmic stablecoin pegged to the US dollar. UST maintains its dollar peg by burning or issuing Luna tokens. When the value of UST drops below $1, for example, to 98 cents, holders of UST can convert UST to $1 worth of Luna. Therefore, arbitrageurs can pocket the 2-cent difference. Interesting. Conversely, if, as appears to be occurring now, demand for UST drives the price of the token over $1, users can mint additional UST, driving the price of UST back down to $1 by burning the dollar equivalent amount of Luna. This burning of Luna tokens to create UST drives up the price of Luna. So interesting interplay that we have between the stablecoin and the asset. And right now, yes, people, I mean, you think about it from the perspective of the US dollar index. I talked about that in my most recent YouTube video. In the same way that the dollar is rallying, UST is rallying. And so Luna will rally as well. Luna, as in not UST, but Luna, the cryptocurrency, which means, now think about this, and think about this in terms of trading. So we see Luna is, as people go risk off, Luna will increase in value. And so this is not a typical bear market coin. It's pretty much going to do, there's times that it's going to do very well as other cryptos rise, but I have a feeling, I'm wondering if Luna will not do as well. I mean, it's done phenomenally over the last year or so, but it might not do as well if we have some kind of a rally at any point. And you guys know my opinion. I do not believe that $69,000 was the top for Bitcoin. I believe before the next halving that Bitcoin will reach a new all-time high. And it's a matter of when. I don't think, oh my goodness, I have the hiccups. Give me 1 second. All right. I hope that solved it. I just beat my chest for those of you listening on the podcast. I don't think it's going to be early 2022 or mid 2022, maybe late 2022, maybe early 2023. But I do believe at some point that Bitcoin will reach a new all-time high. And so maybe Terra Luna is at a point right now in terms of maturity where the rest of the market, as Bitcoin goes higher, those other cryptocurrencies will go higher. People will go risk on, and maybe Luna will lag behind. Maybe it's at that point maturity wise. I mean, it has grown by a great deal over the last 14 months. But it's also the number 6 crypto in the world right now, including stablecoins, Tether, and USD Coin. So really the number 4 cryptocurrency that's not including stablecoins. Now, as far as Luna's potential, somebody who I really trust says that he believes that one day we're going to look at a chart and see this order in terms of market cap: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, Luna. So that would mean that Luna would about double in market cap from where it is now. If everything else stayed the same, from where Luna is now, it would double in market cap, which would, give it about a $200 price. So when will that be? I mean, I don't know, because, that maybe that's the next cycle, and maybe Bitcoin's, well over, 6 figures. And so Luna is what, $500 a coin. But Luna is an interesting one that it's like, you see people going risk off. You see Luna. I would say if we were to see any kind of sign of some kind of end of the cycle, blow off top, not necessarily with Bitcoin, but with something else, that it may be good at that time, or maybe like a couple months after that time, to load up on Luna as people are going back to risk off positions, because Luna is going to make sense. This is not financial advice. Do your own research, yada, 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 all that stuff. So Luna's on my radar. I mean, I have some Luna. I bought some at $50. It seemed like it was the perfect time. I thought it was going to go down to $30 or $35, something like that. And it didn't. It went down to $44. I took profits on my Luna, because you always got to be taking profits, especially in a time like this. But maybe I'll regret that. I don't know. I do have a saying: never regret taking profits. They're profits. But Luna, it's going to be interesting to see what Luna does in like peak bear market conditions. So we will see. Next thing. So yeah, I talked about this already, but secret class of crypto assets explode as Bitcoin blasts above $42,000. So what is this secret class of crypto assets? We have Monero. Monero is the OG of privacy coins. We have Zcash, and we have Pirate Chain, aka R. It's like A and then 3 R's, something like that. And so they've seen some kind of a little bit of a rally, especially for Monero. Monero is the biggest in market cap. What is their market? The 39th ranked in market cap right now. Zcash is around in the 60s somewhere. So they are looking good today. And it's especially, I've seen, I don't know if this is entirely the connection, but I've seen that Russians are expanding to privacy type assets. They're expanding to cryptos, and I think privacy coins, which might be driving what's going on with Monero right now, as there are further restrictions from Putin in Russia. And so that might be driving the action, is that they don't, everything's visible on the blockchain. Every transaction, if the government knows your wallet address, they can see every transaction that you do. But Monero, Zcash, and Pirate Chain offer for none of those things to be visible. And what a time, that's something that is certainly can certainly have its appeal one day. I mean, Bitcoin, the appeal with Bitcoin is it's decentralized, but everything is public. You can see everything on the blockchain. The appeal with Monero is that you can't see it. Now, here's my concern long-term for something like Monero is that I could see plenty of governments around the world wanting to crack down. Because if I am a shady individual who wants to do illegal activities, what am I going to do? Am I going to do public stuff for money laundering on Bitcoin with Bitcoin, which is lame, even though that's what a lot of government officials constantly bring up, is that Bitcoin is used for money laundering? Or am I going to use Monero? Seems pretty obvious to me that I would prefer to use Monero, where they can't see a thing. They can't see the size of my transactions. They can't see when I did they can't see anything. And so that's the appeal with Monero. It's a true privacy coin. And I like the idea. I am just concerned about crackdowns. But for the time being, Monero is having its day as people are wanting to transact in secret right now. So Monero. So among the leaders in decentralized payment gateway and original privacy coin, Monero, which aims to hide not only the identity of senders and receivers, but also the transaction amount itself. Monero witnessed an incredible 68% move to the upside with its Tether pair, surging on Binance from $170 to $280 in minutes before correcting. The Monero website says that the untraceable nature of its system means users are censorship resistant, and XMR, aka Monero, is a truly fungible means of exchange. Monero is the 39th ranked digital asset by market cap and remains up 10.5% on the day to 188.84. So Monero, saw a huge spike. When was that? Yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Up to did it get to 2.8 on Binance? It did. It got to 206 according to coinmarketcap.com. But look at this. If you can go to coinmarketcap.com, look at the chart for yourself. I'm seeing, this is on a very low time frame, so it's not as what's the word? It's not as likely, as realistic, but I'm seeing the formation of a bull flag, which is a bullish thing, a bull flag, obviously, and it could potentially shoot higher again over the next week or so. So it's something to keep your eyes on, that maybe this is, again, that next meta game that we're playing, is that people are going to rush to privacy coins as there's a lot of instability and a lot of fears going on in the world with Russia, with the Ukraine and all that stuff. So, but let me read on in this article here. So the rally comes as multiple countries, including the U.S., pressure cryptocurrency exchanges to track and in some cases outright ban crypto addresses linked to Russian users. So there's that Russian connection. Also on the move is fellow privacy-focused Zcash, ZEC, which harnesses zero-knowledge ZK proofs to protect users' privacy while operating on public blockchains. The project says it is self-funded and balances community governments with stakeholder incentives. Zcash has been on a roll this week, up 33.8% from $106 to $142 over the past 7 days. Number 67 crypto asset by market cap, and is up 13.3% today alone. Pirate Chain relies on ZK snarks. Succinct snarks stands for succinct, non-interactive argument of knowledge. I did not know that. Good to know. To keep peer-to-peer transactions private and anonymous. According to the project website, Pirate Chain supports the open source Tor network and employs delayed proof of work to protect its blockchain from malicious interference. Pirate Chain is also experiencing major gains, having vaulted 12.3% from $1.05 to $1.18 almost instantly yesterday. R weathered a brief correction, but remains up 19.8% today with a trading price of $1.22. So again, I'm trying to think, what is the next big thing? We saw that all throughout 2021, and maybe the answer is nothing. Maybe for 2022, the answer is nothing. I tend to think that it's something. So maybe it is privacy coins. Maybe it's ISO 20022. Maybe it's just Terra Luna. You know, if we're going to have a rough year for altcoins or a rough year when it comes to stability, maybe this war with Russia rages on for quite a while, then yeah, people are going to want to go risk off. I mean, especially if the US dollar continues to rally the way it has, then I think that's very bullish for Terra Luna. I mean, it's not going to be bullish for their stable coin. They're trying to stay stable, but yeah, people are fleeing to UST, which drives the price up, which then, you know, in a way, by means of trying to decrease the price of UST, the price of Luna will go up. And so you see the dollar rally, and that's all you have to do. If you see the dollar continuing to rally, then Luna will rally. And, you know, let me actually pull up the DXY. I want to take a look at this real quick because there's ways to look at this. And so, you know, again, for those of you listening on my podcast, I encourage you to watch my video from yesterday. And the DXY has its own bull market support band, just like Bitcoin, the 21-week EMA, the 20-week SMA. And since June of last year, it broke through to the upside above its bull market support band, and then it's bounced off of it very cleanly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times so far before continuing to rally higher, which, you know, that is a sign of people more willing to go, wanting to go more risk off. That's been going on for about 9 months now. But as I'm looking at it today, the dollar is having a down day. That means nothing in the grand scheme of things, but there is plenty of room for the dollar itself to go down and bounce right back off of its bull market support band if it does that. Just like with Bitcoin, as I'm looking at it right now, the dollar may be too far gone and it might need to go correct below its bull market support band before going higher. Maybe, you know, we'll see a DXY bear market of sorts, but it is too far gone. But what I would expect is some kind of, especially with CPI numbers released tomorrow, some kind of move downward for the DXY and maybe another bounce off the bull market support band. And here's what I'm saying with Luna is around the time of the bounce off of the bull market support band, in my opinion, for the DXY would probably be a good time to enter a Luna trade or to just get in on Luna in general. So let's see here. Where are we? February 4th for the DXY was the last time it bounced off of its bull market support band. And February 4th for Luna, the price of Luna on February 4th was $51.08. Seems like it's correlating pretty well. So we'll see. That might be the strategy, but I am bearish. I guess I would say, just processing through all this stuff, I'm bearish on Luna right now, and I would absolutely be taking profits. But moving forward, yeah, XDC and XLM are making some moves today. On the grand scheme of things, I'm looking at their chart right now. There's still a long way to go, but it's up 16. XDC is up 16% today. XLM is up today, so we're seeing on the Biden news some regulation, some coins that are going to be more regulation proof starting to rally. I'm curious about another one, HBAR, and so I'm going to check that out on coin360.com right now. HBAR, oh my goodness, all right, I shouldn't have hit refresh there. So let's see. HBAR is, where is HBAR? Right there. It's up today. I mean, it's not doing anything extraordinary. All right, 21 cents. Never mind. So, some other news. We have Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley now owns more Grayscale Bitcoin Trust stock than ARK Invest. You know, ARK, Cathie Wood, she is very bullish on Bitcoin. She believes that it will hit $500,000 one day. And I think that one day being soon-ish. And, you know, soonish as in this decade, and maybe like the middle of the decade, not the end of the decade, but $500,000. Morgan Stanley is very bullish on Bitcoin, and they are currently in a position where they can't publicly own any actual Bitcoin. And so, I mean, this government regulation that's coming from Biden, if the government can regulate it to a certain extent, maybe Morgan Stanley will one day be able to and will own Bitcoin. And what's that going to do for the actual price of Bitcoin? But for the time being, I'm telling you, Morgan Stanley is super bullish on Bitcoin long term. So yeah, they own, this is just a part of it. They own more, they now own 13 million GBTC shares as of the end of 2021, worth more than $371 million as of today. And regulatory filings indicate the bank had allocated GBT stakes across 17 funds. It operates, reports, Blockworks, yada, 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 et cetera. So they own $371 million worth of GBT shares, which in the past has been correlated almost perfectly with the price of Bitcoin. Starting in early 2021, something happened, and I don't know what happened, but the correlation changed, and there it's still correlated, but it's not perfect anymore. Grayscale is trading at a discount of, it's about, whatever the price of Bitcoin is, Grayscale is about 33% below where it should be, something like that. That is not stopping Morgan Stanley from buying shares of Grayscale. Grayscale hopes to one day get approved to be a spot ETF, which would be super bullish, especially for Grayscale, because as soon as Grayscale started trading at a discount, they stopped buying Bitcoin. They were buying about 2/3 of every mined Bitcoin on a daily basis. So currently 900 Bitcoin mined a day. They were buying about 600 Bitcoin per day. And that stopped. That just stopped as soon as they started trading at a discount. And now they're just kind of bleeding away a little bit. I mean, very small amounts, but they own over 600,000 Bitcoin, which is about 3% of the total supply of Bitcoin. What happens if they become an ETF, they become perfectly correlated with Bitcoin again, and then they turn that purchasing right back on? That the supply crunch, the amount of Bitcoin that's going to be taken off of the table, it's going to be unbelievable. And so that's going to be super bullish. And that's why Morgan Stanley, it's like they're buying cheap Bitcoin, because they believe, in my opinion, the reason why they're willing to buy Grayscale is they believe that Grayscale will one day become again perfectly correlated with Bitcoin. So it's essentially that they're buying Bitcoin at a 33% discount. Not only does Morgan Stanley own all of that Grayscale Bitcoin trust, but they own about last I checked, 10.9% of MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy, as you know, their balance sheet is Bitcoin. That is how they look at it. They, Michael Saylor, really, really big name in the Bitcoin space, says famously that MicroStrategy will be buying Bitcoin all-time highs forever. They will just they will continue to buy peaks forever. So Morgan Stanley owns almost 11% of MicroStrategy as well. And so what does that mean? I mean, that means they're insanely bullish on Bitcoin, but they can't, as of right now, own any actual Bitcoin. So what does that mean? What does that mean when the day comes that they can? And so maybe, dare I say, regulation isn't going to be the worst thing in the world if it opens up for banks like Morgan Stanley to add actual Bitcoin to their balance sheets. I mean, we'll see. So lots to be bullish on a long-term scale. I know that it's really scary right now and that there's a lot of fear in the market, but it's like you've got to be patient, man. I mean, I've been preaching patience for so long. I mean, pretty much since I started. And, those of you who have stuck with me are probably the only ones who are patient. My numbers on everything have dropped significantly, and it's like, you're going to make it. And the ones who are not interested anymore because they had no patience, well, NGMI. Last article I want to share today, and then I want to do some Bitcoin analysis. Ukraine has received close to $100 million in crypto donations. Ukraine president, which is last I checked, it was $17 million like a year ago. So not a year ago, like a week ago. And so that's pretty wild. So Ukraine's president shares our vision that the use of crypto could be an economic breakthrough, according to the country's deputy minister at the Ministry of Digital Information. So the Ukraine has received a total of close to $100 million in crypto donations, according to Alex Bornyakov, Ukraine's deputy minister at the Ministry of Digital Transformation and the de facto crypto spokesperson for the government. So some bullet points here. Speaking in an emergency online briefing entitled Digital Resistance, How Ukraine is Leveraging Technology to Fight for Freedom, Boryakov said that more than $60 million of the $100 million was received in the main fund run by Kuna, the Ukrainian crypto exchange. The rest of the money has been sent to several other smaller funds. According to CoinDesk, if Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had a view on the role of crypto in the war, he said that while Zelensky has not said anything to him about the crypto fund specifically, he, quote, shares our vision that the use of crypto could be a breakthrough from an economic standpoint and that we have the total support of the president at this point. Boryakov said that he did not know if anyone in the American government has spoken to anyone in the Ukrainian government about the role of crypto in the war, et cetera, et cetera. We are seeing the opposite of what every person's fear was with Bitcoin. I mean, I said this a week ago, and I'll say it again. This could be the fifth catalyst. And I mean the fifth catalyst. I'm saying we need a catalyst to break through it. Maybe we'll get some momentum, enough momentum from this Biden announcement that'll carry us, and we'll see. I don't know. But 4 catalysts that I've identified: XRP, Ripple winning the SEC suit, a Bitcoin spot ETF launching, ETH 2.0, which from what I understand, they're still saying this summer, so we'll see. A few months after ETH 2.0 launch, I'll be super bullish for the entire crypto market. Just like, think of it as 3 Bitcoin halvenings, what kind of effect that would have on the market. And then number 4 would be the Fed turning dovish, which, it seems very, very likely to me that, look at the S&P and the amount of pressure that I'm sure lots of companies who are now in really dangerous positions, fears of these companies completely collapsing because they have no liquidity, they have no ability to pay off their bills. It's like, that kind of pressure may outweigh the pressure that we're feeling with inflation. It might. And so lobbyists might be hard at work trying to get the Fed to turn dovish. I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And the idea that at their next Fed meeting, which I believe is next week, that they're going to raise it by 50 basis points, no way, it's not happening. 25 basis points is likely, but then 50, another 25 in June or something like that. That's probably also likely, but September or something like that, I can't see them doing all 4 rates based off of how awful things look at the moment, but we'll see. So anyway, what does that have to do with Ukraine? I don't even remember where I got why I went in that direction. But finally, some Bitcoin price analysis. This is going to be very short term. I want to be clear about that. Very short term when it comes to what I think is going to happen next. So looking at the chart on TradingView, here's what I've done. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but it might. We'll see. So I'm looking at, if you've watched any of my videos, I have the bull market support band, and then I also have some fib levels drawn from the $69,000 peak to the $32,800 bottom on January 24th. And we are currently a little bit above the 236 Fibonacci retracement level, which is $41,440.59. And so I have opened a long, a 5X long at $41,440, exactly at that fib level. What I would suspect is that maybe we will wick below that level. That's only $800 below where we are right now, as I'm looking at the screen, at least $42,200. And then, at some point tomorrow, when the CPI numbers are released, I'm making this podcast on March 9th, on Wednesday, March 9th of 2022. So I would expect higher than normal CPI, higher than expected CPI numbers. I don't know what they're expecting, but I expect something closer to an 8. And I think that in the coming months, we're going to peak around 9 before going back down, regardless of everything else, regardless of all the hawkishness from the Fed. I think that's what's going to happen. But anyway, so higher than expected CPI numbers, that's going to bring the price of Bitcoin higher, in my opinion. So bounce off the fib, support, move up to the 21-week EMA, which is currently around 44, mid 44s. We might wick higher than that. We did that last week, but I do think again that we're going to get rejected at the 21-week EMA. That is super short term. I believe, the 21-week EMA can't go down forever. We will eventually break through it. And I believe that will happen and that we will progress higher at some point. Now, one thing that I am thinking is that if this war between Russia and the Ukraine continues, I just think that for the most part, especially with the 21-week EMA being in the $40,000 range, I think that that's just going to be the point of we're just going to continue to get rejected there for the time being. Now, if the 21-week EMA goes down to the 30s, at some point, in my opinion, we should break through, regardless of whether the war is on. But as long as the 21-week EMA is in the 40s, I just think that we're going to get rejected there as long as the Russia war is going on and the Fed continues to move forward with their hawkish plans. Any of those things change, boom, we're off, we're moving higher, hopefully not getting rejected at all of the levels of resistance that I've talked about, but I would have my eyes on the 702 level around $58,000, and I'd probably exit a decent amount there in order to reload back in the 40s or 30s for Bitcoin, but I'm talking about exiting my altcoins because I'm not touching my Bitcoin. So that is it. That's my short-term analysis with a little bit of long-term sprinkled in there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you again in another video, podcast, TikTok, whatever it may be, however you may be listening. Thank you for giving your time to the World War Bitcoin podcast. Peace.